Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel, Body Mind Healing. My name is Maria Sanchez. I am a holistic health consultant, a family nurse practitioner, a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and a doctor in nursing practice. The case for today is: what is the cause of mental illness? For many years, mental illness has been explained through a single simple story: the idea of a chemical imbalance in the brain. According to this narrative, conditions such as depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, or even schizophrenia arise primarily from faulty neurotransmitters that must be corrected with medication. While this explanation is easy to grasp and has helped reduce stigma, it reflects only a small part of the truth. Mental illness does not arise from a single cause. It emerges from the interaction of biology, lived experience, psychology, social context, and often overlooked meaning and consciousness. To understand mental illness fully, we must move beyond reductionist explanations and see the whole human being: a nervous system shaped by experience, a mind shaped by beliefs, a body shaped by stress and trauma, and an inner life shaped by connection or disconnection from meaning. The chemical imbalance model gained popularity alongside advances in psychotropic medications in the late 20th century. It offered reassurance that emotional suffering could be explained biologically and treated medically. Yet, decades of research have failed to identify consistent chemical abnormalities that directly cause most mental illnesses. No laboratory test or brain scan can reliably diagnose depression or anxiety based on neurotransmitter levels alone. This does not mean medication is useless. For many people, it reduces symptoms and provides stability during periods of crisis. However, medication often treats the effects of distress rather than its origins. When mental illness is framed solely as a chemical defect, deeper contributors such as trauma, chronic stress, or loss of meaning are easily overlooked. Mental suffering is not simply something that goes wrong in the brain. It reflects how the nervous system responds to lived experience. Biology does matter. Genetics influences emotional sensitivity, stress tolerance, and mood regulation in some conditions run in families. Yet, biology does not operate in isolation. Genes interact continuously with the environment. Prolonged stress, childhood adversity, sleep disruption, inflammation, hormonal shifts, and even nutrition can alter gene expression. Biology creates vulnerability, not destiny. A person might carry a genetic risk and never develop illness if their environment supports safety, connection, and emotional expression. The brain itself is shaped by experience. Chronic stress can alter neural circuits involved in memory, attention, and emotional regulation. These are biological changes, but they are driven by what a person lives through, not by random chemical failure. Trauma is one of the strongest contributors to mental illness. Adverse childhood experiences such as neglect, emotional invalidation, abuse, or instability are strongly associated with depression, anxiety, substance use, and post-traumatic stress later in life. Trauma reshapes the nervous system for survival. When the threat is persistent, stress hormones remain elevated, emotional regulation becomes difficult, and the system stays on high alert. Symptoms such as panic, dissociation, emotional numbness, or intrusive thoughts are not signs of weakness. They are survival responses that have outlived their original purpose. Adult trauma, relational, medical, financial, or systemic, can have similar effects. Psychological processes also shape mental health. Thought patterns, beliefs, coping strategies, and internal narratives influence emotional experience. Chronic self-criticism, unresolved grief, shame, or a persistent sense of failure can gradually erode mental health. Humans are meaning-making beings. When a life feels unsafe, purposeless, or disconnected, distress emerges. Anxiety might reflect a nervous system overwhelmed by uncertainty, while depression might reflect emotional exhaustion, suppressed grief, or loss of meaning. Symptoms are not random. They often carry information about unmet psychological or emotional needs. Mental health does not exist outside of a social context. Poverty, discrimination, social isolation, unstable housing, and limited access to care increase psychological strain. Chronic exposure to injustice taxes the nervous system and reduces resilience. Modern lifestyles further contribute. Sleep deprivation, constant stimulation, poor nutrition, limited movement, and digital overload place ongoing stress on the brain and body. Humans evolved with natural cycles of activity and rest, supported by close social connections, yet modern environments disrupt these basic needs. Cultural values also matter. Societies that equate worth with productivity and discourage vulnerability often leave people feeling inadequate or unseen, amplifying emotional distress. From a spiritual perspective, mental illness is not understood as a broken brain or defective self, but as a state of imbalance, dysregulation, disconnection, or an integrated experience within the human being. Suffering often intensifies when identity becomes confined to thoughts, emotions, roles, or past wounds. Over-identification with the thinking mind, particularly repetitive fear-based thought patterns, can generate anxiety, rumination, and emotional exhaustion. Unprocessed emotional pain accumulates over time, shaping reactions that feel overwhelming or uncontrollable. From this lens, depression is frequently linked to identification with the past, loss, regret, or unresolved grief, while anxiety is rooted in imagined futures marked by fear and uncertainty. Suffering persists not because the mind is broken, but because awareness becomes absorbed in mental narratives. Spiritual frameworks do not deny the body or brain. Instead, they view biological changes as reflections of prolonged stress, emotional pain, and disconnection. Healing begins not by fixing the self, but by transforming one's relationship to thoughts, emotions, and inner experience. Spiritually, symptoms are often seen as messengers rather than enemies. Distress might arise when emotions are suppressed, trauma remains unintegrated, or life is lived in conflict with inner values or calling. From this perspective, suffering is not meaningless, it is asking to be listened to. This view echoes depth psychology, which understands symptoms as attempts by the psyche to restore balance and bring unconscious material into awareness. Mental illness is not who a person is, it is something they are experiencing. From a spiritual approach, mental illness has neither a single cause nor a single solution. It reflects the interaction of biology, experience, psychology, society, and consciousness. And effective care must honor this complexity. Medication can be helpful, but it is rarely sufficient on its own. Healing often involves restoring nervous system safety, processing trauma, strengthening relationships, cultivating meaning, and supporting the body through rest, movement, and nourishment. It also requires presence, the capacity to observe thoughts and emotions without becoming defined by them. Mental illness is not a personal failure or a life sentence. It is a human response to suffering, disconnection, and overwhelm, and also an invitation to deeper understanding and integration. When we move beyond simplistic explanations, we create space for compassion, dignity, and genuine healing. Let's not forget that healing is a return to the balance of body, mind, and spirit, a reminder that we were never truly broken. Until next time.